This is your host Bhavya Jain, and today we have the pleasure of speaking with Kayzad Shroff, the founder and principal architect of SHROFFLEón. Thank you for joining us, Kayzad.
Hi, thanks for having me.
SHROFFLEón is a Mumbai-based boutique architecture, landscape, and interior design studio founded by Kayzad and Mirador. Since 2011, the firm has focused on bespoke solutions through a collaborative approach, prioritizing context and creativity. With the studio motto, good design tends to be culmination of a creative collaboration not only between the two of them, but also their various consultants and their clients.
We're doing well. Doing well. Thank you.
Nice. So before starting the questions, I would like you to inform that this interview will be published on the website of Fublis. So sign up to the Fublis website and you will get the access to watch this interview. So shall we proceed with the questions?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
So the question number 1 for the day. What role does institution play in your design process and how do you strike a balance between instinct and methodological planning?
See, I think intuition and planning after a while sort of ends up becoming one only. Maybe when you start off, intuition and planning is a bit divergent, but after a few years of working and experience, intuition takes into account planning after a while. So I don't think they're two separate things. I think they end up becoming the same thing after a few years of practice and experience.
I think that's amazing. So next question. How do you foster collaboration within your team while maintaining your studio's distinct design voice across projects?
See, I think in our team, people who have been with us for a while get an opportunity to design. And they've been with us for a while, so they do understand the basic tenets that we sort of hold dear as a practice. And then I think it's important to allow people to have their own takes on the way we work. And that adds to richness of design while maintaining the overall aesthetics and lines that we maintain in our projects.
I think that's the people who make a company work. I think that's
Yeah,
right.
very true. Yeah.
Of course. In the project Aurelia, how did the slope site influence your design process and approach, and what challenges did it present during the construction process?
See, Aurelia was actually an existing home where we were called to touch it up and to rework a few parts. We felt the orientation of the pool actually was completely not taking advantage of what the site had to offer. You had a beautiful view, and the pool was looking straight into a mountain, and you had a high railing in the direction of the pool. So what we did was we flipped the direction of the pool in the vantage point looking towards the vantage point. As slope terrain, we tucked in a couple of programs under the pool. That is something we do pretty often. We get clues from site and then the design sort of emerges out of existing site conditions.
So what strategies did you implement to ensure that sustainable water management for the pools and water bodies and waterfalls were ensured in this project?
Well, there were a couple of different water bodies in this project. You had the main pool and then you just had a waterfall. For the waterfall, we worked it out in a way that same water can be reused for the watering of the plants, etc. For the main pool, rather than having a balancing tank, we created an open air water body which formed the backdrop to the living room, which then became the balancing tank. So rather than build something separately for it, we took a utilitarian feature such as the balancing tank, which is normally put underground, and we made a design feature out of it.
Wow, that's amazing. So how did you ensure the continuity of materials from the interior to the exterior to blur the boundary between indoor and outdoor spaces?
The external parts of a home and the internal parts of a home. To have a home which from the outside, which is bare, and then to have a superly done up interior sort of allows for there's a mismatch. And what we tend to do is we use materials which are within the same design language from the inside to the out. So while the material itself may not be identical, there are commonalities between the terms of evoking a feeling from the inside to the out, which allows you to understand that it's the same project, but one inside a little more refined, cleaner, more detailed, while the outside is a bit.
That's really nice. So what role does global architectural trends play in your design philosophy, especially given your international education and exposure you've had?
We feel the problem with doing something which is in keeping with a trend by definition will be not in vogue 5 years later. We prefer to work on things that are a bit more timeless and ones that age gracefully in time. So trend is something we genuinely don't look at.
In the project Mirador, what construction techniques were used to achieve the monolithic form, and how did you ensure that the structure would weather gracefully over the time?
What we did was we used it's an exposed concrete structure. So that was one where we designed the joint lines, we designed the holes for the shuttering, and the minute you have that designed and you make it out of a material like concrete, it is monolithic by nature. So it gives you that feel automatically.
So, how did the building's layout and design respond to the rhythm of farm life, and how did you envision it being used throughout different seasons?
So there is an existing farm that we built. He had left the part on top of the contour for his home. It initially started off by just having a viewing platform and a toilet. That then became a one bedroom, or not even a bedroom, just a room. It then grew into a one bedroom and then finally into a two. The idea of Mirador actually means sort of a viewing platform in Spanish. The idea was that the entire home would act as a platform from which to view the home and the farm for the owner. In terms of different areas for different climates, in all honesty, it's a small home with only one general living area. So I don't think there were different areas they would be working on or enjoying during different times of the year.
Really nice, really cool. So, apart from the projects we've just talked about, what has been one of your favorite projects that you had worked on, and what specific challenges did you face during its development that is very particularly a big memory for you?
It's in a suburb of Baroda called Karamsar. It's a large plot, it's about 12 acres filled with amla trees. And what we are doing there, we are building the entire thing out, again out of exposed concrete. But over there, we've sort of broken down the formwork size into significantly smaller bits, and getting that across to a local labor it has been a very challenging experience. We assume that people in Bombay read drawings and we design as such. Being in Baroda or outskirts of Baroda, the level of understanding and expectation of a contractor varies differently to what we have in Bombay. And just that mismatch was something that we are struggling with quite a bit.
So, last question for the day. What strategies do you use to stay inspired and continue innovate, especially when working across architecture, landscape, and interior design?
I think being insecure is a very important aspect of keeping creativity. Secure in what you're doing and you're confident in what you're doing. You don't try and innovate because you're comfortable with what you're doing. I feel insecurity and doubt are a very important factor in constantly staying afresh. If you don't want to lag behind, you need to be insecure.
That's really cool. So that was the last question, and thank you so much for giving us a precious time,
Sure, my
Kayzad. It
pleasure.
was really
Thanks for
nice
having me.
hearing you.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much. It was a
Thanks.
pleasure to have you, and don't forget to sign up on the Fublis website.